In the Dig, a role-playing game, 2 or more players tell lighthearted stories of adventure in the underworld. You are dwarves doing amazing things. Each game is played out over 5 rounds. In the opening round, the story and characters are introduced and preliminary rolls are made. Then there are the 3 story rounds representing the different things the dwarves must do to succeed. They are the social, material, and craft rounds. The story is wrapped up in the finale, where success or failure is determined and epilogues are told. This video will show you the first steps of each round. If you enjoy the video, be sure to watch the full game as well. Alright, so the scene opens on the outside of this pub in the Hardstone neighborhood. It's there's this dim red light about it. Obviously it's very dark because we're underground. And we're outside the restaurant that we've established by naming it the Chitter Ale. And it's a borderline offensive name because the chittering was this event that so affected our people not too long ago. And the image outside the door is of one of these horrific monsters with his pincher squashing a pint of ale. And so we zoom in on the door, and then out pops a dark-looking dwarf. That's me, Udo. He's wearing a black uniform with these crisscrossing belts. That's kind of standard for the clangers. He's got this black beard, this droopy mustache, and he's just been ejected forcibly by the proprietor, whose name is Svarder. Svarder's kind of a jerk. Nobody really likes him. And he says something like, "You don't bring that clanging around here. This is a respectable establishment." And Udo is a chill dwarf. He really has nothing to say. But he still turns around and gives the restaurant a really nasty look. And as the doorman is standing there scowling at him, I decide to try to talk this guy up a little bit to get some information on that we might need to use later should I ever want to come back here, because I'm already really displeased with this place. So any kind of leverage I can get, I'm going to try to get now. So being the informed dwarf that I am, I'm going to use some customs to try to see if I can't get to know this guy a little bit in the hopes of using that information on him later. So I'm going to make a social roll, which has no modifier, but I'm using my informed trait as a narrative bonus, so I'm going to get +1. So we're going to roll, and we're going to see what happens. Alright, so we got a 6. Perfect. So that's 5 + 1. And so Udo very calmly approaches this guy who is looking straight ahead, almost like one of the Buckingham Palace guards or something. And I begin to talk him up and finally crack his mean demeanor, and I get him to talk a little bit about how secretly he really doesn't like Chitter Ale very much either. And he's kind of begrudging the fact that this stuff is just ubiquitous, that these pubs are all over the homes now, and it seems kind of opportunistic. And so I'm going to write that down under advantages for info on the guard, which we can hopefully use later. We're going to establish a new tavern and hopefully drive out Chitter Ale, the horrible, horrible competition. Okay, cool. So since the last round ended on you, you get to start the next round by setting the stage. We're going to move to the social round, and our social goal is to start to rally support from the neighborhood dwarves. And Anthony, you're going to get us started by telling us what's going on, what the situation is, and then make your roll.
So Brenner and I we've known each other for a while anyway. He makes all my rings. They're all quite nice. I wear one on every finger like he does, and we try to one up each other over who has nicer rings that day.
So do you make him like crappy rings sometimes just so you look better?
Well, I maybe embellish like the value of things. I show up with something new and kind of be really nonchalant and try and hide it a little bit. What's that on your finger? Oh, it's nothing. You won't be interested in this.
Couldn't afford this one. So Brenner and I, even though I don't know he's been exploiting me for years, I think he's just a straight up guy. So we decide we're gonna try to open up this new tavern together. And so I think we're sitting. Where are we? We're sitting outside, maybe outside the Chitterale, plotting their demise under their very windows.
Yeah, I think we're kind of scouting out the clientele and trying to get an idea of like what type of people seem unhappy with the establishment and maybe where we'd be good setting up shop, like what area where our customer base would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I agree with that. I think this is a good time to try seeing where the demand is highest and try to kind of scout out location-wise. Talk to people, see geographically where in the underground it would be the best place for it. So, for my trait, let's see. Well, I'm really there's some nice known parts of town, and there's some parts of town that are not so nice.
Right.
But I'm really curious, and I never quite abide by those definitions. So I sort of wander all over town. I wander to the good parts and to the bad parts, and see where is the best. Because I'm sort of ignorant to that fact, but it's really just kind of the curiosity of they say it's bad. I wonder what's over there.
Right.
So I'm going to invoke.
Ignore all the muggings and.
Yeah. I mean, we'll post a guard, right? Brenner has a good connection to the guards. We'll post there. We'll draw some of that connection.
I think Graham has the guard connection.
Oh, it's Graham with the guard connection. Yeah. Well, we'll have to figure that out.
It'll be alright.
So I'm going to get +1 for my curious and +1 for my social, and I'm going to roll a 7.
You, sir, would add an extraordinary success. You get a point of expertise to cash in for a reroll later. Okay, so we're at the beginning of our material round, and our goal for the material round is to acquire a space for the pub. So now we just got to find the space, probably in the neighborhood that Faf scouted out. And Graham's going to get us started here. What's happening now?
So we're maybe making a few improvements to a location that we settled on because we found the neighborhood that we scouted and that all worked out, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we just have to make a few improvements to this space to make it appropriate for all the needs that we have. We need the taps, right?
Yeah.
We need a stage for the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe we can our current budget only covers one of the improvements unless we can negotiate down to something that can something we can afford now, so we can get it all at once, as opposed to starting off with just the drinks,
right.
Just the setup for the brewmaster.
Sounds like somebody's going to Home Depot.
We need lumber for the stage. We need a stage. That's
can't make that out of stone.
Maybe that's why all the Chitterales sucked, was because they refused to invest in a stage. So the musicians were down low. The sound didn't carry. You couldn't see anything. That's how we're gonna take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So that gives me the +1, I guess.
Yes, sir.
All right. So
here we go.
Don't let me down this time.
Oh no. What happened? Did your patience fail you?
I guess.
All right, let's roll it. Roll it again, man.
Roll again?
Yeah.
For the
find out how you failed again.
3.
The wrong stuff.
The wrong stuff.
So how do we incorporate that? Maybe you picked
the wrong kind of lumber.
Thought it was the lumber guy, but it was actually like fiberglass or something.
Fiberglass.
Stage made of fiberglass. But it's your call. What happened?
Yeah, I bought material that wasn't strong enough for the stage.
So you come in with like a pallet of stuff. You're like, guys, look what I got.
Yeah, and then we realize it's just gonna collapse. So
who's gonna save this one?
So then I'm going to use... I'll save us. I'm going to call on the support of the forgers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cartload of unworkable material and I'm going to bring it to them, and they're going to coat it with some good, chemicals and...
Some polymers.
Yeah, some polymers. Yeah, bang on it a little bit with their hammers and turn it into something workable and turn it into material we can actually use.
Okay.
So we actually end up getting some pretty mastercraft level material.
Sweet. Good job.
Right.
Good job, Forza. Our goal for the craft round is to build an amazing still. How do we begin going about doing that? Where are we now?
Yeah, so we're definitely looking at having a more kind of a ornate one that'll be visible in the restaurant that people will see. So, Faf obviously will be in charge of actually making the distillery. But I'm also going to call on my forger connection to bring in some additional help because this is a big project.
Yeah, but they'll look kind of tired of that anyway, so it's probably better to come from you.
Yeah, they're maybe a little graded. But I'm also aware this is not Faf's strong suit, so I'm taking this upon myself and letting him take care of his area. And but being a jeweler, I'm working on adorning this so that it's a very pleasing thing to the eye. So I'm going to be crafting like our tavern's name, like in jewels going across.
What trait are you using?
I'm going to use creative for this. Well, actually, no. I'm at a 5. I had creative and I have plus 1 correct.
Either way, you're at a 5.
Okay. So I've got a nice selection of jewels that I'm happy with. They're all kind of even in size, and I'm plotting out how they're all going to be inlaid.
I'm happy to say that we failed no rounds. We achieved our social goal of gathering support. We achieved our material goal of building up our pub. We achieved our craft. So we move on to the finale round. And the first thing we have to do is look over our unresolved complications and find out what happens with them. And to do that, we'll starting with me, I don't have any, we'll read off the complication we created and then roll to try to fix it. All right?
Can we still use our expertise points?
Yes,
Can
definitely.
we use our advantages to try and
Yes.
negate them?
Yeah, it's a regular roll. You're just rolling to resolve that. And you can actually roll any skill as well as long as you can justify it. So we begin with you, young Brenner.
Okay, well, I had a jewelry patron that was angry with me for selling something that she originally commissioned to somebody else. And this had already been a spat previously.
Oh boy.
Because we disagreed about the price, and I just said, well, I'm just not going to sell it. So this kind of brought stuff back up. But turns out the brewer we hired is actually related to her. It's her nephew. So I'm gonna hope that kind of smooths things over a bit, and this doesn't do too much to harm my reputation.
So are you like approaching her? Or did she like happen into the pub or what?
Yeah, she comes into the pub and to speak with me, and then sees that her nephew is working for us. That he's happy with his.
Finally got a
position.
job. Yeah.
And so I'm gonna offer to do a new commission for her.
Ooh, wow.
For,
so generous.
For a prearranged rate that she's agreed to. So and hopefully she's pleased with this offer.
Okay. So we made a craft roll?
Yeah.
Alright. Perfect.
Ooh, nice.
Kaboom.
All right.
Now we just close the story with a narration, and I'll start by describing the fate of Udo. About 2 years from where we end up here with Faf's arm rejuvenating, Bad Tattoo has not only toured all the various neighborhoods of the homes, we even went above ground and we did some spots in like the different villages of men around. There was a lot of road lifestyle stuff. And after about 2 years of that, broke, down on his luck, stinky, possibly with, some unresolved bodily injuries. Udo drags himself back to the homes, back to the Glowworm Tavern, and asks, I just want my old job back. And that's his story.